Hello, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to EBN Prime Edition. This is the weekend that the Lord has made, and this is how we start in our session this particular weekend. We get to know what is happening to Billy, and over close to 50,000 people have logged into the X platform, who are now ready to join and just get to do an interaction. This is how I begin this particular weekend edition in what is undoubtedly an unexpected, unprecedented scenario, with over 50 Kenyans joining an X space dedicated to the arrest and subsequent disappearance of several influential X personalities, as well as the debate over the Finance Bill 2024. The space is a feature that allows users to have live audio conversations on the platform and was spearheaded by some of the biggest names in the Kenyan X community. On the space, conveners fearlessly castigated the government and the police for arbitrary arrest of some of the most vocal online personalities, whose tweets and actions helped propel the Occupy Parliament protests and conversations. This also took turns of voices and their concern over the Finance Bill 2024 and other current affairs.
Kijana kuna software engineering, aende Saudi Arabia akwe Getman. Afadhali huyo kijana akwe Getman Kenya, ajenge Kenya yake, kuliko unamwambia tunakutafutia job huko Saudi Arabia. And these young men, I want to tell you, Aaron Cheruiyot tumekuona hapa, watawatoa hapo. Wasipowatoa leo, watawatoa. Mtatoka. You have to listen to them. The solution ni moja. Can you go back and tell Kimani Ichung'wah, the leader of majority, atoe your bill, withdraw your bill. Otherwise, mkiendelea kupiga kifua, these young men will eat you.
Want that, look at 2007, 2008. Some of the people that died in the Kiambaa church, by then by now it's called the Tarakwa area. You will notice life continued as if nothing happened. By that I mean, at least to date, we cannot account that any of the leaders that were implicated in those atrocities were actually jailed and paid for their sins. Number two, if they were conscious of the issues that Kenyans are raising and the noise that we've been making over and over, they wouldn't have proceeded with voting, and in that same parliament and outside, Kenyans are busy saying reject that bill.
We can see you trying to hire your community. 70% of the people. I saw recently they replaced the ambassador to Australia in Canberra. They put a Kalenjin there. The president, you're not preaching unity here. You're not preaching unity. Come on, Mr. President. You have been in government since 1992. Youth for Kanu.
And with that story, we leave it at the side. Nandi Senator Samson Cheragani has now shifted a blame to finger Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya coalition, for the ongoing demonstrations against the Finance Bill 2024-2025, accusing them of financing Gen Z protests. A wave of Gen Z took to the streets this past week to protest against the Finance Bill 2024, but the government seemed not to take the demonstration seriously, going by the turn of events. In the past week, leaders from the Kenya Kwanza government have sought to discredit protests, terming them as a ploy for the youth to get more views on their social platforms.
Niliona hawa ndugu zangu wanaazimiwa wameongea leo. Nimeona Tinga pale ambaye tunamuombea kazi. Namwambia Tinga kidogo, kuwa na heshima. Kuwa na heshima kidogo na asante. Sasa sisi tunalipa hii kodi ndio tukulipia kampeni ya African Union. Unakuja tena kutupigia kelele. Amesema polisi walitumia excessive force. Kama hawa waandamanaji, ikiwa ni Generation Z, ikiwa ni waandamanaji wahalifu waliharibu mali, wangekutana na the force of the police. Kama wao waandamanaji wangefanya maandamano bila kuharibu mali yoyote, bila kuchokoza polisi, polisi hawangetumia vitoa machozi ama kutumia nguvu. So we want to ask our brothers in Azimio. We know nyinyi ndio sponsors ya hii protest. Can you stop the hypocrisy? Na nyinyi wenyewe mkuje mbele, tukutane mundu kumundu. Kwa sababu sisi wenye tuko kwa serikali, hii serikali tunatafuta. Na lazima hii mwaka, nataka niambie wa Kenya wote mahali paliko, hii ndio mwaka ya 3. Mkiona in the next 1.5 years, sisi hapa ndio matunda ya William Ruto itaanza kuonekana. Jana nataka nishukuru wabunge walipitisha mswada wa fedha wa mwaka huu. Iko mapato mazuri katika taifa letu la Kenya. Ya kwanza, hawa wananchi katika constituencies 290 wataweza kupata stima kila constituency ya 50 million ya last mile.
And still on that, Majority Leader in the Senate, Aaron Cheriot, has blasted MPs who voted against the finance bill, accusing them of attempts to further plunge the country into debts. Speaking in Kericho County, the Senator Majority Leader told lawmakers who voted yes for the bill to stand firm and not be intimidated as they prepare to amend the bill at the third reading stage next week.
Kwa hivyo wabunge wetu wale wa Kenya Kwanza ambao walipiga mswada huo, mtu asiwatishe. You stood with the future of this country, where you ensure that our young people are not going to battle debt the way we are battling now. You are setting a firm foundation for our country, a country that is in charge of its own destiny and not a country that is full of debt the way we are witnessing in this current administration.
That is Gen Z for me, or Generation C. They can cry, but we will lazima tutoe hiyo mwiba ndio hii watoto wakule, kwani watakula nini? So nyinyi muendelee watoto wetu, sisi hatuchape nyinyi, na polisi msichape hawa sana. Tunatoa mwiba kidogo kidogo tu alafu tutakula kesho.
And moving on swiftly, after the Finance Bill 2024 was approved in Parliament for the second reading, MPs who voted yes on the bill have defended their stance. Led by Kiambaa constituency MP John Njuguna, the MPs have suggested that the government's budgetary supplementary and the NDG and CDF led to support the bill. Further allocation of bursaries and strengthening in education and ensuring that students receive education without disruption was also a factor. They have
katika bunge tulivotia ile financial bill iende third reading. Na tulipoipigia kura, sisi kuna yale mambo mazuri tunaona katika hiyo bill, na tukasema hayo ndio tutapigania watu wetu wasaidike. Kitu ya kwanza ni kuhakikisha vitu hazitaletwa kutoka ngambo, ziletwe katika nchi yetu ili wanyanyase wanaotengenezea bidhaa katika nchi yetu wakose biashara na wengine waendelee kuendelea. Pia ni vizuri tuseme walimu wetu watapata kuandikwa, watoto tumesomesha na hawana kazi ya kufanya. Kitu ya tatu pia ni vizuri tukumbuke wagonjwa katika hii nchi watapata matibabu ambayo itashughulikiwa na serikali. Na mimi niombe wanahabari wetu, tafadhali wacha tuache kuambia watu wetu yale mabaya tu, ni vizuri pia tuwaambie yale mazuri ili watu wetu wajue faida na ile mambo inafanya tuwapiganie.
We are so many leaders behind the President William Samoei Ruto, and we are purposing to continue being united in the government of William Samoei Ruto. But we cannot talk about unity in the morning, whereas others at night, the only thing we do is to make sure we fight against other leaders as people from the Mount Kenya. Lazima sisi wote tushikane na tuko nyuma ya President William Ruto, tutafutie wananchi na watu wetu wa hapa Gatodo South na Gatodo North. Tuwatafutie mali, tuwatafutie kazi, tutafutie vijana wetu kazi. Tumepewa na kila kitu na William. Ametupatia nusu ya serikali, ni sisi tuko hapo kama watu wa mlima.
My gears shift to Trans Nzoia County. Saboti MP Caleb Amisi, a young leader, has urged the youth in Trans Nzoia to join the Gen Z demonstrations in Nairobi. Speaking in Kitale, MP Amisi challenged the youth to ensure that the MPs in the region who voted for the finance bill are not given a platform to speak. He also criticized Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, accusing them of being sellouts to the Luhya community.
We do not want a nation that is controlled by one or two individuals. Sawa. Tunataka finance bill ambayo inajua maisha ya Wakenya iko juu na tax irudi chini. Na kuna uongo wanasema ati ule mbunge alipiga no, ati hakuna maendeleo kwake. Na tunawaambia mulete maendeleo, mkose kuleta, sisi tutatengeneza serikali yetu. hatutatishwa.
Ule mbunge ambaye alipiga yes asiongee kwa matanga. Ule mbunge ambaye alipiga yes, vijana oye, ule mbunge alipiga yes asiongee kwa kanisa. Sawa sawa. Parliament exists to put the executive into check. Kama tutakuwa na bunge ambayo inalala na serikali, hiyo ni bunge inastahili kwenda nyumbani.
And members of the judiciary on Saturday showed up in large numbers for the burial of Makadara Law Court's slain magistrate Monica Kivuti. Kivuti was buried in Machakos County. In attendance were Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, Governor Wavinya Ndeti, Machakos Senator Agnes Kavindu, Deputy Chief Justice Philomena Mwilu, and Chief Magistrate Frida Mukaya, among others. Kalonzo noted that having attained for a court is unacceptable, as the Constitution of 2010 was strengthened the judiciary independence and specifically funding. Kivuti died of gunshot wounds to the chest and left hip on June 14th, 2024, while receiving treatment at Nairobi Hospital.
By some terrible coincidence, 2 high-profile killings have happened touching on the people of Machakos. That of Monica, shot at our station, hard-working principal magistrate, working under 10 Deputy Chief Justice, under a 10. While we all know that under Constitution 2010, the intention was to strengthen the judicial arm of the government, have those county, by the 47 county well-constructed judicial headquarters, and we expected, of course, that that will trickle down and that judiciary will be well-funded.
Monica died for not being corrupt. Yeah. She just died for not being corrupt. Because I'm sure people tried talking to her, but she stood with the right thing. That is why she died. And you know, the judiciary, I'm telling you, don't give the devil space. The devil wants you to be, to pull you down. The devil wants you to be sad. Don't be sad. Before you are born, God knew that is the work you are going to do.
First Lady Rachel Ruto has called on the society to empower more women and youth as they make up the large population in Kenya, and the youth are future generation. While emphasizing on the importance of the micro, small and medium enterprises sector, First Lady urged the two groups to take advantage of the Hustler Fund and support their businesses. She also reiterated the role of the church and government in activating social change in communities and uplifting the quality of life in families.
When the church and the government work in harmony, we activate the power to transform communities and uplift the quality of life in families. The family, as the fundamental unit of society, plays a vital role in shaping the future of our nation. We must work tirelessly to strengthen our families by protecting our children and empowering our youth, and also by instilling in them the values of integrity, hard work, and compassion. With strong families and responsible youth, nations thrive socially and economically. As the church, we have a role to play in the development of our communities by partnering with the government in developing sustainable solutions for our communities. This will ensure that our people flourish holistically. Let us ask the women and youth around us to apply for the Hustler Fund and the Women Enterprise Fund, which has tripled to 13.5 billion Kenya shillings. Further, the application process was simplified digitally through the short code *254# and M-Pesa. Let us encourage the women in our churches and communities to come together and form economic empowerment groups. The organization that implements my programs, Mama Doing Good, can help transform these groups into table banking groups through our Joyful Women organization.
The Senate Standing Committee on Devolution and Intergovernmental Relationship had inspected development projects done by county government of Bungoma in a move to ascertain the efficiency of devolution to residents. Speaking to journalists at the office of Bungoma County Governor, the committee chair Abbas Mohammed said the Senate has resorted to come down into counties in order to find out if the projects have been done in accordance with the intended purposes. His sentiments were reiterated by Siaya Senator Oburu Odinga, who said the committee looks forward to meeting residents of different counties so that Kenyans can get a one-on-one interaction with senators, citing that it is the common mwananchi who benefits from the projects.
Wanabiashara na wekezaji katika kaunti. Hatutazuia yeyote kutoa maoni yoyote kuhusiana na ugatuzi kwa sababu kamati yetu ni ya ugatuzi. Sasa tunawasikiza wote wanao changamoto za ugatuzi uweze kuwasiliana na serikali ya Lusaka ili waweze kujukumika na kufanya kazi jinsi tulivyoahidi watu. Sasa kama kamati tumekuja tu hapa kuimarisha uhusiano wa Senate na wapiga kura wa Bungoma na vile vile Senate na serikali ya county kuhakikisha kwamba malengo ya ugatuzi yanatimia. Sasa hayo kwa ufupi.
From the center to the people is working, and what our role is to see that the monies which are devolved, which are brought down here, is properly delivering the services to the people and what the people say about it. Because we just don't want to hear the officers, we don't want to hear the governor alone, we don't want to hear the executive telling us that it is working, and yet the wananchi will say it does not work. We have not yet had an opportunity to see the wananchi themselves, and we are now out to see and talk to the wananchi, and they will tell us whether this thing works or not. I think.
Well, and with that story, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry wants to demystify the myth that only foreigners can successfully run industrial and manufacturing sector in this country. Cabinet Secretary Rebecca Miamo said the government was working on modalities to promote homegrown companies to exploit the investment potentials in the sector and challenge the local business community to venture into industrial production of goods. Speaking during the dissemination of forum for the fourth medium term in Laikipia County that was held at Nanyuki Hotel, Ms. Miano said that any Kenyan can venture into manufacturing so long as they have some little startup capital.
I'm happy that this is the first time that the MTP4 is being taken down to the local area so that everyone can understand the plans that the government has over the coming years. For my ministry, I am happy to be here to discuss with the residents of Laikipia. I'm here also to demystify the whole of industry and manufacturing. I am aware that many people in Nairobi and in Kenya, even here in Laikipia, they assume that manufacturing and industries are for the big manufacturers, even foreigners. But we need to explain and demystify that manufacturing is for all of us. Any one of us with small or little startup capital can start their manufacturing plant. Those who grow tomatoes can start by making tomato paste. That is manufacturing. There are others who can do tanning for their leather. There are others who can manufacture nails. We have to start with small industries. In all these industrialized countries, it started with smaller and MSME manufacturings that grew and scaled to big industries. And what our ministry is doing is to sensitize people on the local manufacturing and to avail opportunities for accessing finances. Our Kenya Development Corporation is an organization that is there to give startup financing.
The State Department for Cabinet Affairs Office of the Deputy President has adopted a site at the Chuda Creek in Mikinani Ward to plant mangroves in a bid to increase its forest cover in the county. According to the National Forest Resources Assessment Report 2021, Mombasa has a forest cover of 4,233 hectares, a forest cover capita of 3,500 and a tree cover of 5,130 acres. The report shows that a proportion of forest types, mangrove in the list one with 1.1%, while the natural forest has the highest with 84%. Chuda Creek is the biggest and the only forest in Mombasa. The creek starts from Fort Jesus to Rabai in neighboring Kilifi County. The creek has degraded mangrove areas due to human activities and urban development. Dr. Idris Dokota, the Principal Secretary of the State Department for Cabinet Affairs, led the staff, the community and the local organization to plant over 10,000 mangrove prologes to actualize their targets for this financial year.
So the aim of today's activity is to contribute to that journey, where the State Department of Cabinet Affairs, being part of the executive, we have come out in numbers with communities around here to plant with an aim of planting more than 10,000 mangrove seedlings. The main reason why we chose mangrove, this being an indigenous plant here, at the same time it's a plant that has many benefits. One of it being a benefit where this tree has features that can influence or help in climate change mitigation and adaptation. Another feature comes here where mangroves have large capacity, they have ability to actually store carbon, and on the other side it has also some economic benefits to the communities around here, whereby it can be used also as a source of ecotourism, as a source of cultural tourism, because it contributes to the heritage, cultural heritage of this particular area.
And the lack of vaccination of children in public hospitals has caused concern for some low-income Kenyans in Bungoma County. Some of the citizens of the county are forced to visit private healthcare centers to seek vaccination services for their children, despite the cost being very expensive, given that many citizens do not have medical insurances. According to the parents who spoke to, they are facing a shortage of basic vaccines in public hospitals. Some hospitals do not have any doses, which gives them sleepless nights. The polio vaccine that protects against paralysis and DPT vaccine that protects against whooping cough and hepatitis B vaccine are all unavailable.
We were used to getting pediatrician in many facilities, but here when I came, I went to district hospitals, public hospitals, and the queues were long, the services were not up to par, the vaccines were not readily available, so we kept on being told, especially for Rota, you will come for the next visit, maybe it will be here, but kids were not getting the best. So I got referral from my sister-in-law who stays here.
Children's clinic, we have two specialists, that's pediatric consultants, and they are well versed with children, and they do wide range of complete physical examination since they are well versed with children. So children, since there are people who can't explain themselves, our pediatricians always do a complete physical examination and also detect what's ailing the child, and also work hand in hand with the parents, since the parents are the best nurses for their children, since they spend most of the time with the children. With the history from the parent and also physical examination from the doctor, it's when they'll get a complete history and also get the right diagnosis and right treatment.
And still, from the county that I come from, residents of Bungoma have been asked to show up in large numbers for the blood donation exercise to save lives of those who need it for human health. Speaking in Sangalo at Bungoma National Polytechnic, members of the Rotary Club, led by President of Bungoma Branch, Anthony Hissa, have said that many hospitals in the country are suffering from a shortage of blood, saying that it is through the efforts of the people to donate blood, other hospitals that will save those who need blood, especially tuberculosis patients.
We just really want to thank the students because wametokelezea wengi. They've come in large numbers kusaidia blood donation because kama sahi it's so alarming that our hospitals hazina damu. I myself nimezaliwa anemic, so I'm a champion of blood donation. So anytime we have a blood donation and we have a turnout like this, we just thank God because our hospitals like now, we really need blood. And we urge every other person out there, you don't have to wait for this opportunity. You can just walk to the hospital kwa satellite pale and donate blood.
So far mimi nilikuwa sijaitoa damu, lakini nilikuwa nataka ni encourage vijana tutoe tu damu. Si kazi ngumu sana na hata si uchungu.
I think the knowledge is power, that we need to know ourselves, we need to know our status, we need to know what you're getting into. So I want to encourage more so the young Turks who are entering into matrimony, into marriage, that they need to know their status, they need to understand if they are carrier, so that we may be able to limit a number of cases of sicklers or sickle cell anemia kids and patients. So it's a voice, it is an encouragement I'm airing out to any person that go test, go find yourself, go check your rhesus factor, find if you are a carrier or if you are part and parcel of that generation, so that we may be able to actually curb this menace, or we may actually contain the population and the rise of sickle cell anemia.
Well, and that is how we wrap up our weekend edition at ABN Weekend Edition. From the studio, everyone who's made this particular transmission a success, Odipo, Moses back in the TX, all our scripts that have been put up by Cynthia, everyone who's been watching us, Cabs from Diani, Antiome, Sally, Malin, Ayana, Melki, and everyone who's watching us from home, Gasheri, thanks for all supporting the hustle. We appreciate this big time. Koyo, good night.